From the center of the universe, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, this is the SDM Show with your host, Rob Cairns. The SDM Show focuses on business, life, productivity, digital marketing, WordPress, and more. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite drink, and enjoy the show. Here is Rob.
Hey everybody, Rob Cairns here. I'm the founder, CEO, and Chief Digital Strategist at Stunning Digital Marketing. In today's show, I have Mr. Jason Friedman with me, and our topic is flow versus force. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. The SDM Show is brought to you by Stunning Digital Marketing, the digital marketing concierge that helps you put all your marketing pieces together. We are your marketing experts. We are also your WordPress security experts and know how to lock down a website and protect yourself from bad actors. So contact us at Stunning Digital Marketing today. Hey everybody, Rob Cairns here. And today I have my guest, Mr. Jason Friedman, with me. Hey Jason, how you doing, man?
Hey Rob, how's it going, buddy?
Oh, always good. Always good. It's summer, it's hot, it's vacation time, life is good.
Yeah,
But
baby.
life is what you make out of it. So today I thought
100%.
we talk about flow versus force, what entrepreneurs get wrong about growth. And I suspect, knowing the entrepreneurs I know, they get a lot wrong. What do you think?
Well, I think yes. And I think because I am and have been and was one of them, right?
Yeah.
So, I learned a whole lot about this topic over the past 18, 19 months. And yeah, it's an interesting topic to say the least.
Yeah. So what should an entrepreneur know about growth? Because everybody says a growth for most entrepreneurs is one thing, dollars, right? How do I
Yeah.
go from 100 to 1,000 to 5,000 to 10,000 to 500,000 to $1,000,000? That's kind of everybody's measuring stick. And I
Yeah.
don't know if I agree with that. What do you think?
Well, so growth is it's a big word, right? It's a big word.
Yeah.
And I think that the way I think about growth is more holistically, right? Are we growing our team?
Mhm.
Are we growing our customer base? Are we growing our
Yeah.
impact? Are we growing our revenues? Are we growing our profits? Even more importantly than our revenues, it's like we can't serve our clients at the highest level if we're not able to make money and profit from it. So like that's the whole model is like you grow a business so you can make money, you can invest in, quality of life and in your business and so on and so forth. So I think it's more than just a revenue number for me. And, for me, I'm really focused at this point in my life on impact. Like, how do I help more people? How do I do more good in the world? How do I contribute in a
Yeah.
bigger way? And so when I think about growth now, it's definitely that kind of more holistic approach to it.
Yeah.
But I'll say this, Rob, like this whole idea of flow versus force. I know we'll probably unpack it and get into it, but I have grown businesses from zero to over 150 million in sales. I've grown business from zero to $1 million in, a short period of time. I've done a lot of this stuff, and the way I always approached it before about 2 years ago was through what I would call force. And the growth that I was talking about was more revenue driven. It was about a
Mhm.
focus on revenue, and it was about a very tight, aggressive set of timelines, like locked to a short
Yeah.
chronological time zone, a timeline, right? And so
Mhm.
that's how I used to think about growth. And I think that that's what I say, like, I think they're getting it wrong. I think it's about that, right? I just think like the way we're looking at it and thinking about it and approaching it is actually holistically wrong.
Yeah. And one thing you mentioned right off top was growing your team, right? And I think that's really important because if you don't have the right team in place and you don't grow that team, the other things can't fall in place. Like it's not a one or the other. It's building blocks to get to the other one, right?
Well, 100%. And you know what's so funny? So, like, as entrepreneurs, right? Like, we read books, we listen to podcasts like this and others.
Yeah.
We attend events, we buy trainings, we go to masterminds, we get coaching. Like, we do all the things. And like, I don't know if you're like me, right? So, like, let's go back like 30 years, maybe 25 years. And so like my business partner Drew and I, like we were growing a business and we were like growing quick. And so we were going to all the programs, getting all the coaching,
Mhm.
attending all the events, reading all the books, doing all the things. And we would hire people that were amazing. And then like a month later, we're like, oh my God, how are these people so stupid? And it was like, how did the people get dumber? And what we kept finding is that we as entrepreneurs are constantly growing and expanding and trying to get more knowledge, but we don't bring our team along with us too.
Yeah,
So like part of growth is not just growing our team in size, but growing their capabilities and
and
development and
knowledge.
training and all that knowledge. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And I think as an entrepreneur, you almost have to be, if you can be successful, a lifelong learner. And I would put you in that category, Jason. I certainly put
For sure.
me in that category. Somebody said to me yesterday, how many books do you read? And we were talking to our therapist the other day, and I'm like a book a week guy. And that doesn't count everything else I do.
Yeah.
So, and the last I looked, I'm just kind of looking over in the corner. Sorry. The I've got 3 books on the go at
Yeah.
once. And
Yeah.
somebody said, "How do you do that?" And I said, "Do you watch 3 different Netflix shows at once?" Yeah, but the same thing. It's just applied in a different model, right?
Yeah, totally. Totally. Love that. Yeah, for me, it's like I read the same book more than once too. Like I
Yeah,
go back to
me too.
books, and I feel like, as an author myself, like, when people they pour so much into the book. Like you obsess over the chapters and making sure that you get the wording right and you're explaining it. You put the right visuals and stories and metaphors and all these things in there. And then people read it once and they don't really get the full essence. So I not only read books and read a lot of books, but I also go back and read books multiple times.
So
Um,
do I.
and really enjoy that. And what I like most about the reading, I don't know if you do this as well, is almost I don't I've actually not done a formal book club, but I do share things from the books. Like I find like when I talk about the books that I've read with other people, when
Mhm.
I learn it better. Like I kind of like own the knowledge even more when I start sharing it a little bit with other people. So that's been kind of a
And it
hack of
helps you. It actually helps you think through the knowledge and think through what you've read, and helps you interpret what you've read when you share it with others as well.
Yeah, and I like to also figure out like how am I going to apply this? Like what do I so I just learned this thing. Like what am I going to do with this knowledge now, right?
Yeah.
I did an assessment. So I a friend of mine is an assessment person, right? So they do like all these like personality tests and like, skills tests and
Hmm.
all these assessments. And then they like kind of like they look at a whole bunch of them together. And so they don't just take one at a time. They look at like 7 or 8 that you've done. And so I did like 7 or 8 assessments and they have this dashboard and like I was looking at this and she was like kind of coaching me through it and she was explaining what each of them mean but then what she did was so interesting was she got to the intersection of what they mean when you look at them together and then I said to her, I'm like, so her name's Mandy. I said, Mandy, like how like what do I do with this now? And then she started to like land the plane for me. And it's like that's how I think about books too. It's like, okay, now I got this idea or I got this skill or I got this wisdom. Now how do I apply it and do
Yeah.
something with it in my day each day? And I think that's part of like so to me like growth, it's like it's also taking action towards something too. Like if you're growing, right? You're acting on the knowledge and the ideas and the things. Like it's an active, engaged process. And so like I always like to look at all the things I'm learning as a learner, but also as a doer. Like I'm an activator. Like I like to do stuff. I take radical action all the time. So like I'm always taking action, getting things done, whether it's myself or through my team and so on and so forth.
Yeah. And there's no point, honestly, there's no point in reading all this stuff if you don't apply any of it. Like I know there's people that will read books and they'll read books and they'll read books. And I'll say, okay, that's great. But where did you actually take 2 or 3 things out of this book and show it in your business or personal life? And they're like, huh? Like, why would I do that? And I'm looking
Yeah.
like, what's the point then? You have to take a couple things out of each one and just kind of apply it.
Yeah. Amen. I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Um, so we've talked about growing your team. We've talked about revenue. That's the easy one. Where else do you think an entrepreneur needs to grow?
So I do this presentation on stage. It's called the Shifts to Massive Growth. And so
Okay.
a couple years back, someone asked me a question. And the question was like, dude, like you've grown all these businesses, you've grown really quickly. Like, what's the like top, like number one thing that you did? And what I told them, and I thought really hard about it, and I was like, I decided I was going to grow, and I made that commitment. And
Yep.
so like that was like the first thing. Like, and I hadn't really ever thought about it till he asked me the question. Like I love questions because it gets you to really think deeply. And so he asked me that question. Then someone else asked me a question of like, could you do a presentation on like the key lessons that you've had from like growing all these businesses? And that's what this presentation became. It became this like shifts to massive growth. Like, what are all the shifts that I, as an entrepreneur, the growth milestones, moments, out things that had to happen for me to have success like that. And it was kind of
Yeah.
interesting. And so, the number one secret, I think, for and many entrepreneurs realize this, you kind of get to it at that point is like before you grow any business, you need to grow you. And
Yep.
it really is a personal development journey. Like being an entrepreneur
Mhm.
is a personal development journey. And then you get to a certain point and you become someone that helps other people go through their personal development journeys, and it's just like it's a pay it forward like ritual, like a rite of passage. It's kind of like in the entrepreneur club, like you want to help other entrepreneurs, which is
Yeah.
what our business is today. It's like we help entrepreneurs, creatives, whatever, build and grow their businesses. And it feels really good. So it's like once they get to a certain point of like inner growth, personal growth, like understanding and evolve to a certain place, the business growth kind of happens. Like I don't want to say automatically, but automatically. Like all the constraints that were put on you by yourself, by your inner workings, start to release. And the floodgates open, and then all of a sudden, like revenue comes, like better employees come, profitability comes, impact comes. And so, like to me, that personal development journey of like really getting clear on who do you need to be to achieve all you want in life, like it's an identity shift from
Mhm.
from where you start to where you end up, and it's really not about just the destination. It really is about the journey along the
Yeah.
way and being present in that journey and learning as you go. And the lessons that you need to learn show up for you over and over again until you learn the lesson. And it's a beautiful thing. And so when business as a vehicle to help you develop and evolve and give you the ability to help other people, whether it be your team or your clients or others, it's I think it's like one of the best things on the planet is to be an entrepreneur and grow your business and the development, the growth, the amazing outcomes that come from that. It's beautiful.
Yeah. And you also need the right people around you. And that includes the support of your family, your
Of
friends,
course.
your colleagues. I can tell you from personal experience, when family's not supportive, it makes it really hard, especially if that person not supportive is your partner in life.
Sure.
That's hard as ever.
Yeah.
People don't think about things like that. And they also don't think about that. And you're so bang on, Jason, that if you don't grow yourself, how do you grow the business? It starts with you.
It
And you
has
got
to
to
start
think
with you.
about that. And
Yeah.
and I think people like you and I are growing actually every day. And that's a big thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, so personal quick personal story. So I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer
Yep.
about 18, well, a little more than it, like 20 months ago, right? December, it was end of November, beginning of December 2023. And the past 20 months have been the biggest personal growth for me in
Yep.
my life. I'm grateful for the journey that I've been on and grateful for all the learning, all the people, all the support. And like what I learned, I mean, there's so many things I learned, but like one of the key lessons that I learned is about receivership, right? Like, so
Mhm.
like as an entrepreneur, like and as a human, we need help and support from other people. Like we need people around us. Like we're,
Yep.
we're beings that really need that in their lives. And so in my life, an amazing giver, an amazing giver. Like I'm always about giving and serving and supporting and doing all the things, but I was really a bad receiver, Rob. Like whether it was like receiving a present on my birthday or it was like asking for help or all the things. And I didn't realize how, uh, I don't know, like I was turned off to that, like not turned off in a like repulsed way, but like I wasn't open to receiving the same ways. And so during that journey, like friends, like people, I'm in a couple different masterminds, but one of the masterminds in particular, like about a dozen of the people in there knew what was going on. I hadn't shared it broadly with everybody in the beginning. And like literally like from all over the world, they stopped what they were doing and they flew to New Jersey to like be with me
Yeah.
and share with me. And so what they did one night, we went out to dinner and they got this like private room in this restaurant. So we're sitting in this private room, we had dinner, and then one of the members, my friend Victoria, she asked me to leave the room for a minute. Like, all right. And so I left the room and I get text from her, come back to the room. I come back in the room and like everyone's sitting around. They had a chair set up for me like at the head of the table. They were all kind of gathered around me like in a
Mm.
semicircle. And they had a phone on top of a glass, like so that the recorder was pointed at whoever was speaking. They were spinning it around.
Yep.
And they love bombed me for like almost 45 minutes, Rob, of like gratitude for how I've helped them, how I've
Yeah.
supported them, all this. And so they started off by saying, listen, you're not allowed to deflect anything we say. All you have to
Mhm.
do, or all you're allowed to do, is say thank you and accept it. And by the end
That's
of this,
hard.
I was bawling. I was bawling. Like it was the most powerful forced
Mm.
reception experience. And it went on from there. Like they did so many other things. And it was just like, you just it's such a gift to other people to allow them to give too. So like that whole receivership. So like that amount of growth changed me, in an instant.
Yeah.
And like I've learned so many lessons as a result of that. So I've let people in a bigger way. And
Yeah.
part of my journey before was about like we set big, hairy, audacious goals. The BHAG from Good to Great, Jim Collins, and we were like really tight time frames, like that, like unreasonable, impossible timelines and impossible
Mhm.
goals, and put all that together. And we went for it and we fought for it, and then we forced our way to success.
Yeah.
And honestly, what that resulted in is stress. And
Yes.
as an entrepreneur, you don't necessarily read it as stress. You read it as adrenaline, as excitement,
Yep.
as
Yep. Yep.
whatever. But like it's destroying or could be destroying your body. So in my case, like I had gastroesophageal cancer. And so it was like in your solar plexus, like where all the stress bottles up. And like
Mhm.
shocking, right? Like newsflash, like dude, like you've been putting yourself through all sorts of stuff your whole life and
Yeah.
and didn't recognize it as stress or pressure or whatever. I like loved it. I ate it up, but it
Mhm.
does some damage below the surface. And so what I started experimenting with through some of the healers and people I worked with was this idea of like flow versus force. Like what if you allowed things to happen and unfold instead of did it by brute force? What if you
Yep.
were communicating a bigger vision with the world and you were enrolling more people in that and inviting them to participate and receive more from people? Um, what does that do? And what I found, interestingly enough, is that it actually works. And
Yeah.
you can grow even faster, and you can achieve even more, and you can involve even more people. And
Yep.
so the past year has been like a cool experiment of this idea of like, how do you grow rapidly? Because I love like making impact faster. Like I believe in
Me
collapsing
too.
time. Like I like to make things happen in a shorter time frame if
Me too.
possible. And
Yep.
so, like, how do you do that without the pressure, without the stress, without the noise, and without the anxiety? And I'm really working through that right now and finding lots of success in that. And
Yep.
yeah, I invite people to try it a little bit, because it's a really interesting way to be.
And I think being forceful, there's a time and a place for it, but being that way all the time, I don't think is a good way to go, especially in business. You just come across as being overly aggressive is a good way to put it.
Well, yeah, I don't think it's like in your approach with other people that I'm talking about. I think it's in your goals and
Yeah, but
your
even in your goals, I still don't think it's a good idea. I think
I
you're
agree
better
with
off
you. I
just
agree with you. Yeah.
I think you're better off just to let things flow like as natural as you can and it will come. as long as you keep it on the right track. And that's part of the problem too. You got to kind of keep it on the right track. And I think it's hard to grow businesses. Like people, if it was easy, everybody'd be doing it too. And that's the other
Yeah.
thing, right?
Sure. So what I've been playing with is the balance between so like one of the things that I believe to be true is that a lot of entrepreneurs don't grow bigger because they don't set a big enough vision, right? They don't have a
Yep.
big enough idea, big enough vision of what's possible. And so I
Hmm.
don't want people to minimize the vision. I want them to expand the vision, make it bigger, and then communicate it with more people and play with the idea of how to make it happen without forcing that vision to happen. Like let it
Yep.
unfold a little bit,
Yep.
right? And I
Yep.
think that's the difference. And it's like what ends up happening is you find faster ways, you find better pathways, like they come to you. And I've become way more spiritual in the past 2 years. I'm not quite the complete woo-woo person, but I'm definitely more woo than I was. A little more like I'm
Yeah.
from Jersey, so there's a street woo
I
element
get
of it,
that.
right?
Yeah. Yep.
But so it's not like really pure manifestation, although it could be seen that way. But it's about better communication of vision, better magnetic messaging that pulls people
Mhm.
in and allows people to flow into it. And so, like I said, the past year has just been just a beautiful experiment of this in what you're saying, like not being forceful in or aggressive in messaging, whatever, but being magnetic in it, where people
Mhm.
are excited about it in a deeper way. And I think in today's world, like with AI, which I love AI, I think AI is
Me
amazing,
too.
but I also think it's got to be used in the right way. And I
Yep.
think people are craving more connection, more engagement, more
Oh
community,
yeah.
better experiences, all of those things. And so, like, if you're building a business that is magnetic, that pulls people in, that feels like it's something people want to be part of, it's a movement, um, it's the best thing. It's the antidote to all
Mhm.
the other people that are just throwing a business up there that they had AI generate overnight because they feel the pull and
Yeah.
they want to be part of that community. So it's a
No,
powerful approach.
no question. One thing you mentioned, you said don't reason entrepreneurs don't grow bigger is they don't have a big vision. I think entrepreneurs have a tendency, a lot of new entrepreneurs, they sell themselves short all the time. They don't
Mhm.
give them credit for what they know. They don't give themselves credit for their expertise. They price themselves way too low. And I mean way too low. Pricing is a problem. I see it all the time. And they're like, but people won't buy if I double my price. And I always say, so try it and see where you get because you might lose certain clients, but you might pick up a whole new bucket of clients that are way easier to work with. Because my
Sure.
experience has been over the years, the more you charge, the less difficulty on the client side. I mean,
100% true.
I have a client, I have a Fortune 500 I work with, and I can't name them due to NDAs, and they're paying like $500 an hour. Do they give me any headaches? No,
Yep.
none, because they know when they're paying that kind of value, what their value they're getting out of it is. That's all they care about. They don't.
100%.
Whereas the client that wants to pay what I call bottom basement prices is the one that's going to drive your business up the wall from here to Sunday and question. So I think that's a lot of it. Entrepreneurs don't give themselves enough credit. And that comes back to the whole personal growth thing too.
Yeah. I agree with everything you just said. 100%. Our best clients are the ones that are able to invest more.
Yep.
So yeah, I definitely appreciate that. And I think, the to the vision thing, I think it's true with almost everybody in the entrepreneurial world is we don't believe like we believe we can do more in a week and less in a year than we can do. So
Yep.
like we don't set bigger visions. We don't think we're capable of that. But when we like look at like what's on our plate at the moment, we put way too much on our plate in the very moment. So like I like to
Yep.
help people like take a step back and really play the game, right? Like and one of the things I find, and maybe you find this too, is what stops them from success is really getting hung up on the how, right? So like
Mhm.
they're afraid of like, oh, if I create such a big vision, how can I do it? Or how would
Yep.
I make it work? And so what I found is like, let's park how. let's like leave how at the back door for the moment, and let's just focus on what and why right now, like and get really connected to it and feel it in your heart and your soul. Like, why do you want to do this? Like, who do you want to serve? Like, and when we're able to do that, the how starts to sort itself out. Like, but the how ends up being such a friction point or a blockage for people as they
Yeah.
start to think about that. That makes their vision smaller, and it helps them feel less than. And it's not entirely their fault, right? Like we grow up with all of these like limiting beliefs put upon us. And so it's like, it's like sky's the limit actually sets a limit, right? Like that
Yep.
term sets a limit, right? So like
It
I don't even
does.
like using that term, sky's the limit, because it's not. And it's like you see television shows and movies and things where the wealthy are the villains. Or you see like if people made a lot of money in a short period of time, we think that it's evil. And it's not, right? Like people put stories, it's just a series of stories, and these stories change our lives. And it's we grew up with them. And a lot of it's like our parents and our communities like trying to help us and protect us. But like they give us phrases and stories and ideas that keep our thinking and our vision smaller. And so like
Yeah.
what I try and help entrepreneurs do when they come into our program is to really look in and almost make a list of the limiting beliefs that are in their way right now, and then counteract that with what would the expansive belief, like what's a different story that I can
Mm.
use, that I can support myself with. Our minds don't know the difference between a real memory and a fake memory. And so we
Yeah.
can we can use that to serve us. Like so like in my health journey, right? So I decided that I was going to be 100% healthy. I was told that there's only 5% success rate. And I was like, amazing. I've always been in the top 1%. Those are my people. I'm going to be great. And I decided that. And
Yep.
whether or not I'm right is irrelevant. I believe that. And I live my
Yep.
life that way with 100% belief that I'm 100% healthy. And I am. And I plan to be. And so like the belief and the stories that I tell are all about a very healthy person
Yeah.
that is in a very good place. If I dropped dead tomorrow, God forbid, I'm feeling great today with those beliefs. They're serving me. They're allowing me to
Yep.
do more things and have more things. And I think that's true of your vision. Like if you believe in it and if you own it and you see yourself achieving it, you've got a really good shot of getting there. You've got a really good shot
Yep.
of getting there. And the way you communicate it will involve and invite and enroll other people in that. And I just think it's a really powerful way for anybody, but especially entrepreneurs to like get into that practice of expansive beliefs.
Yep.
Beliefs drive everything. And the more that you can expand those beliefs and get clear on it and connect to it in a I don't want to say a soul level, but like on at least a heart level, like where it's your passion is connected to it, you're gonna have massive results. You're
Yeah.
just gonna.
I agree. And one of the big things you say is the beliefs. I also think it comes back to mindset a lot of times too with
Sure.
entrepreneurs and in our life. I'm a big mindset guy. So one of the things like you I always do is I always take the positive approach 99% of the time. I'm Here's your glass, and it's the glass half full and the glass half empty. My glass is always half full, not half empty. I always
Sure.
take the positive approach. I always take the approach we'll get there. And then we'll figure out the mechanics on how to get there after the fact. That's always
Yeah.
my approach.
Yeah.
Doesn't
I
that
love that.
make a little bit of sense?
I think it makes a lot of sense. So what I used to talk about with people is the idea that like so people wait for a sign like that it's time to do something, change something, fix something, whatever, and it comes from a level of confidence. And I used to talk about that like where confidence comes last. Confidence comes after you've had some success and after you've had some results because now you believe it, right? But
Hmm.
that's based on what I believe is an old definition of confidence. And so what I like to think is along the lines of what you're saying. Like, so I help people like redefine confidence in our programs as confidence as the belief that you can figure it out. Like if
Yeah.
you believe that you can figure it out, then confidence comes first. And now
Yeah.
you can get started. Right. And so that's along the lines of what you were just saying, which I love so much because like you've survived 100% of all your days. You figured out everything in the past already. You have amazing
Yeah.
proof and evidence that you can do anything. We have amazing proof and evidence. So now let's just do it. Let's stop waiting
Yep.
for the sign. Stop waiting to like prove it again to ourselves in this situation. We've proven it thousands of times over. Now let's just do the thing and know that we will figure it out along the way. The right people will come into our lives, or we'll find the right people or the right resources. Like all of that will happen. This is like what I'm saying, like leave the all the details of the how outside for a moment. Know that the how will show up for you, and or you will find it, or whatever, however you want to frame it. It will unfold and you will see it. One of my business partners, Jess Hughes, she says, you can drive from Los Angeles to New York at night in the dark with the headlights only showing you 200 feet ahead of you.
Yep.
And you just trust that you'll keep seeing the next swath of road, and then you'll keep driving. But you don't have to see the entire highway. And like there's truth in that, and it's a really powerful
Hmm.
metaphor. And it's like some of us feel like if we don't see every step along the way, we can't start taking action. And that's holding a
Yeah.
lot of these younger entrepreneurs back, and even older entrepreneurs. Like, it doesn't really matter. Ages, or experience is not always the thing. It's just that belief. And so, like, what I really want people to start to do is to set a bigger vision, believe in themselves, and really
Hmm.
start trusting themselves and grow themselves. Because that journey that vision, you're going to become who you need to be to achieve that vision when you commit to that vision. Commit to
Yep.
that vision and you will become that identity shift will happen for you. It will
Yep.
happen for you. So it's just beautiful.
But you need to make that commitment and you need to be all in that commitment, not half in, not
Well, that's
75%
what a
in. You got
commitment
to be
is,
all in.
right? Like, yeah, you have to really,
Yeah.
it's like what I love. So we were having this debate about so I'm a word nerd. I'm sure you are into words as well. And so the difference between the word choose and decide. And there's a
Yes.
very different meaning to both of those words, or at least a different etymology of those words, like where they came from. And there's a different energy to those words. Like choose is like, oh, I'm going to choose a path. It's like, it's a softer
Mhm.
word. Decide comes
Yep.
from decide, to kill off all other options. When you decide, you are removing all the distraction and you're focusing.
Yep.
It's a much stronger word. And so when I said that to my friend, like, what was the number one thing? I said, I decided. I didn't,
Yeah.
that was the word that came out of me. And there was a reason.
Bingo.
I didn't choose, I decided. And at that
Yeah.
point, we started to say, what has to go away in order to make this happen? And I think for most of us, like, it really is. It's like, what's on your stop doing list, not your to-do list? What are we
Yep.
taking away? What are we removing so that we can have the clarity, the energy, the time, the space, all the things that we need to achieve that vision? Because it's all the distractions are slowing us down, and the world is giving us more and more practice in removing
Mhm.
distraction, right?
No
Every day.
kidding. No kidding. 100%. It's part of the problem that entrepreneurs just they have a problem allocating time to things. Like
Of
they
course.
underestimate or overestimate, or they don't use proper tools to manage that time. That's part of
Yeah,
it. Would you agree?
I do. I also think we this is part of the overcommit in the short term, undercommit in the long term kind of thing, right?
Yep.
Like
Yep.
but we don't prioritize enough things. Like if everything's a priority and everything's on our plate, we can't do it. Like so, I was in the strategic coach program with Dan Sullivan for 14 years, another
Hmm.
Ontario, Toronto guy. Um,
Yeah.
and um, he used to ask us this question, and he would be like, if you could only do three things this quarter that would give you
Hmm.
the largest results in your business and your life,
Yeah. Yep.
you focused all what would those three things be? And then it's like, okay, so you get those. He's like, okay, why are you doing all the other things?
Yep.
And it's like a very clarifying question. Like
Boom.
you can ask your question for the day, for the week, for the month, for the quarter, for the year, like whatever, right? But it's like, and obviously the things get a little bigger. Like it's a task during a day, it's a project during the year, maybe, or something like that. But like if you really were able to have the discipline to be that focused, what would be
Hmm.
possible? And it's
Yeah.
amazing what's possible with that kind of focus and determination and commitment and decision, right? So if you can decide on that vision and go all in and commit to it, then the question is like, who do I need on my team? And what is the focus for each of us? Like, how are we showing up? What are those core things that we are going to focus all of our attention on? All of a sudden, like, it's like, so again, my partner Jess, like she was an Olympic rower, like, like in the boat kind of
Yeah.
rower. And like the way she talks about it, like she talks about like, the amount of she uses, I think she uses the term force, but like it's about like when you get everybody rowing in the same direction and like that stroke, right? The
Mm.
resistance, the way that you do it, and the practice to get everybody in that so that the boat does its work in the water, like the design, the engineering. It's kind of the
Yeah.
same thing in your business, And it's like if you can get everybody, like if you can design the model that you have and you have the vision of where you're going, and then you can get everyone allocated and practice literally rowing in the same direction and allowing the vehicle to do the work and cut through, it's really powerful. And so,
Hmm.
like in our business, like we've spent a lot of time, and I think that's why we're having like really great results with this one. This one's brand new, and we're trying it in a different approach. Like I didn't say like, "Hey, we're gonna no matter what, we're getting to this number. Here's how we're doing." Like we're not doing it that way. We're casting a big vision of who we want to serve and how we want to help them and why we want to help them, because that's my mission now. Like after my journey is to help all the healers and the
Yeah.
people who help people that helped me, that they
Yeah.
suck at marketing, they're hard to find, whatever. I want to help them get out there. So like I cast this vision and we have a pretty killer offer that helps them, that and we're getting great results for people. The people share the message. Like they're recruiting people in.
Mm.
So like we're the model is doing the work, like the design of the boat and us rowing the right direction, it's doing the work. And
Yeah.
that's the flow. Like that's the flow idea
Yeah.
of how that works. You know what I mean? And like we can all
Mm.
do this in our businesses. Like we should, I believe we should all do this. I don't like to should on people, but like I'm shooting on everybody. I think you should do this because it removes friction from internal friction. It removes physical
Hmm.
external friction. You have so many people flowing in. It's about magnetic versus, that force. It's just a very
Yeah.
different thing.
Yeah. And when the flow goes well, it makes a big difference. It actually takes the stress off. And that's the other entrepreneur's problem is most entrepreneurs are stressed through the roof.
And they
They,
don't realize it,
they
dude. They don't realize it. They brush it off as like, oh, it's not a big deal, but it could be destroying your body
yeah.
and creating like real health issues, as
Yeah.
it did for me, So
Yeah.
I don't want entrepreneurs to go through that. Like learn from those of us that have already lived it, so you don't have to experience some of that stuff.
Yeah, remember we work so we can have a good life, not have a life to work. And that's I say that a lot to people. It's kind of what
Sure.
I believe, and I just, if I'm not working with the end goal of my life being better, there's no point in it. Like
Yeah.
personally, there's no point in it. For me, there's none. So,
Yeah. I get it.
um, that's a lot to unpack, and I think people should really think about it because I think if you change your mindset, I think you would be way better off. And that's really what you're doing, Jason, is changing the entrepreneurial mindset.
Yeah, it starts with one belief, right? It just starts with one belief. And then, just look at the things that frustrate you in a day and like write down like what do
Yep.
you believe about that? And if you make a list, like I just make a very simple list. On the left side, I write down all the limiting beliefs. On the right side, I do the counter. What's the expansive belief? And then I just remind myself to go there instead. And it's a very liberating exercise. It's the simplest thing to do. But like we have
Yeah.
so many of
Right.
those things, you
Yeah.
know?
The other thing I would suggest to any entrepreneur is to honestly uh, keep a journal. Like no matter how much you don't want to do it, start a journal. And if you
Yep.
do it for personal, you do it for professional, you do it for both. I've journaled every day for probably missed the day last weekend was away, interesting enough, which is unusual. I've journaled every day pretty well for the last 14 years, give or take.
Wow.
So do that. That helps. It helps you write stuff down. It helps you think about your thoughts. It helps you. look at patterns. It helps you. And don't write, and by the way, don't write that journal for anybody else. Write it for you and don't share it. So my
Got it.
partner in life did. I sometimes I'll read to her stuff I've written down if it pertains to us, but very rarely, and she'll always say, "Can I have a read of what's in there?" And I'm like, "No, I don't think so." you know, so write it for you and try that. That will help deal with some of this thought process because entrepreneurs' biggest problem is the thought process. The other thing we talked about was kind of the whole time management thing and having not prioritizing. One thing I like to do is take your list of what you have to get done and take out three things every day and put them on a piece of paper beside your desk. And don't look at the rest of the list because
I
then
love
you'll
it.
get those three things done. And if you
Yeah,
want to be even more gangster, take your calendar and put time in the calendar to do those three things.
there you go. I love it.
Because if you don't break it down and you don't know what the time, how are you going to get it done? We've all
Yeah,
got calls. We've all got learning. We've all got clients who want a piece of our time. We've all got podcasts like we're doing now. We've all got a million and one things going on. So how do you
yep,
get it done?
yep. That's exactly it, man. Good advice.
And thanks. And I think some people need to just take a reflection inside and sort of I would almost say to a new entrepreneur that's stuck on this, or a seasoned entrepreneur that's stuck in this mode, sit down at the kitchen table with a piece of paper, nothing else, and figure out and write all your objections down and figure out why.
Amen. Love
And
it.
then if you do that, then you can reflect on those and start pulling things out. I bet you see a pattern real quickly.
I mean, you definitely will see the pattern. And this is a great opportunity to use like a chat GPT or something like that. It'll help
Yep.
you. It'll help you. You like load in your calendar, like tell it what you spend all your time doing. It'll find the patterns for you and tell you where you've got blocks and where like it's powerful because like we don't allocate our time in the best ways for sure.
Yeah, and even I'm a time management junkie, so I admit that. My mother and partner both say my calendar looks like a kid's Creole coloring book because I
That's
color
awesome.
code everything. So I can look at my calendar really quickly and say, this is the kind of task I got going on today. Like that's
Yep.
easy for me.
I
But
love it.
they all like, how do you do that? And I said, well, it works. You just gotta what and the other thing, let's say it right here, because it's worth saying. Once you figure out a system that worked for you in going in this method, don't keep jumping systems around, please. Perfect the one that you're working. That's the best one, the one you're using. We don't need 50 variations. I'm not saying you won't refine it. Don't keep changing the core of it. That's a bad idea.
Amen. Amen.
Yep. If somebody wants to get a hold of you to talk, get some coaching help, get some assistance, talk to you. That's the best way, Jason.
Yeah, hit me up, Jason at radicalinc.com. Love to chat with you. You can check me out there. And I have a new book coming out in just a little bit.
Awesome.
So if you want to check that out, it's called Addicted to Strangers. And it's really helping people understand how to better support their client journey. And that's at
Yeah.
strangers.radicalinc.com. So feel free to go there, grab a free copy of the ebook. It'll be a wait list right now, but it's coming out in a little over a month. So I'm super excited about that as well. And yeah, love to chat with you.
Are you just publishing it as an ebook or are you going to
No, no, no. It'll be
publish it
it'll be
as
it'll be a real book. It'll be a real book, but I'm giving away the ebook for free if people want it, so they
Mhm.
can download
Yeah.
that and it'll be available for purchase probably right in the beginning of September.
On I assume on Amazon is self-published. Is that a
Yeah,
fair? Yeah.
it'll be on
Yeah.
Amazon. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Jason. As always, appreciate time. We got to do this again sooner than later. Have a great day,
Love it,
my
Rob.
friend.
Thanks, buddy.
Bye bye.
Cheers.
This podcast has been brought to you by Stunning Digital Marketing, your digital marketing concierge to help the business owner put all his pieces together, whether it's email marketing, WordPress security, WordPress design and development, PPC, and more. Text Stunning Digital Marketing for all your digital marketing needs today. A very special thank you to Jason for joining me on this edition of the SDM Show. The SDM Show is dedicated to my late father, Bruce Cairns. Dad, I miss you very much every day. My mother, Ann Cairns, who's still doing really well and is an inspiration. And of course, Tiz Maroney. And Tiz, I know I've said it, but thank you so much for all the inspiration you give me every day.